Oh, fatty grunt. We're doing things a little bit differently. I'm actually streaming from my phone today. We're going to find out if this is working because I've got a mic hooked up to it, so I need to check all that. So it'll be a couple minutes. Got some little choir here, as you can see. Handsome fellas. Whee! I'm probably like backwards. I'm not very good at doing this from the phone. I typically have a computer set up. But that's a whole different can of worms, friend. Let me see if I can check this real quickly. Oh, God, there I am. I'm so handsome. Not really. I mean, I am, but I'm not. All right, pull that shit up. G. Unmute. All right. Now let me turn it up. Unmute. Oh, that's really loud. All right. Now let me turn it up. Unmute. Oh, that's really loud. All right. Now let me turn it up. Get turned up, son. Okay. As always, it's going to be a little bit slow for, like chat, what's the word I'm looking for here? Chat responses. Because I'm not looking at the screen, I'm painting, but I do have it pulled up on a delay. My DPS shirt, oh, you can't really see it, but I made them for Hawaii. I'll make sure I wear them. I think I've already worn them for at least one stream, but I'll make sure I wear it for a video, show everybody, because I'll probably have those go live. They're pretty cool. I'm just looking for my water cup now. I promise I had all of this planned out, but if you've ever lived near me, you will know sometimes life is just chaos. Yeah, I got 2 kids, and they keep me busy. I got a loving and beautiful wife that also keeps me busy. I got my paper towels here. Paper towel. I need water. So, be a little quiet for a second. I apologize. I think I might have left my water upstairs. I sure did. Oh, don't get out my butt. He's hammering my butt. Don't hammer my butt. All right, so now we got water. And then while I'm here and still up, I've got I am in a well-ventilated area, so before anybody freaks out because I'm priming down here, I've got an air filter that blows and pulls all that out. I got some little Quarios that I'm priming. And if you don't know what Quar is, I guess now's a good time to learn, you know? Whoo, my hands. Look at my hands. I just want to see how this looks. Okay. So it'll look a little weird for everybody because you're watching it vertically, I'm recording it horizontally. It do be what it is. So these little handsome devils are Quar. And if you don't know, I love these guys. I want to thank Lists, Bailey. He kind of like got me onto these and this game. The 28mm battle game is so good. I love it. And the skirmish game I've played a little bit, but I'm not, as all of you know, I'm not a huge skirmish guy. Let me move this mic a little bit. I'm more into the wargaming side. These are Kofterans. My daughter had started painting these and decided she didn't want to really mess with it too much. So we've got some Space Wolves Gray for their jackets and then some Basilicanum for their pants. At some point, I'm going to do all the belts and stuff, but right now we're trying to get like skin tone and then maybe backpacks and stuff. Like we're just trying to get things to where if I do a battle report, I don't have a bunch of unpainted models. Because, hey, not to let the cat out of the bag, but Eli and I are going to be working on a battle report of Quar, the 28mm battle game. And we're going to be doing a campaign. So it's going to be a series of... Give me a second. My little elbows don't like being on this table. It hurts me. My precious. It's going to be a series of games that we're going to link together into a campaign. I've written it up as a tree campaign. When we are ready... Oh, come on. I love Citadel pots. I'll let you figure out if I'm being sarcastic or not. Anyway, we've got a tree campaign that I've written. And then once we start it, I'll post each mission as it goes, and then at the end, I will share the whole campaign as a doc with everybody. Maybe I'm being a little too ambitious, but I have some animations I'm going to try to do for it. If you're new to the channel, you know that I like to dabble in animation. I've done some stop motion stuff. I've done some, like goofy stuff with OBS, like the old TK videos with, it's just a stationary character who does like a newscast in front of a green screen. So I've definitely dabbled with some animation before. So I'm going to try to do a little bit of animating for our introduction. So rather than try to just stand there and talk and be like, I'm Chris, and this is Eli, and this is what we're doing. What I'm going to try to do, fingers crossed that I'm not, a total goon, is do some brief little animations to set up almost like a cutscene, and it would probably be more in line with what you would see in like really old video games for a couple reasons. One, I don't draw very well, and I know it. But I do think it's something that Eli's going to enjoy because he is getting more involved in wargaming and even in just like working with me on the channel. He's had a blast doing it. Unfortunately for me, he feels the same way about editing as I do. And that's that, it just kind of sucks. And it is what it is. I know how to do it, so it's not the end of the world. Okay. Let's put a little paint up in here where I lose my mind. Oh my God. Up in here. But if you've never played Quar, the 28mm battle game, I don't know if what I'm about to say holds true for the new skirmish rules. I think it does to some extent. But if you've never played Quar, the 28mm battle game rules are free on the website. I think it's rifler.com, and it's spelled weird, so you're better off just looking up Quar free rules, like on your Google search, if you've never messed with any of this before. But the reason I say this is because the rules are fantastic. Now, is it perfect? No. There's some major drawbacks. If you want to do competitive style stuff, this game is not set up for that at all. There's no point system. There's no, like, every scenario has a strict, this is what you bring, this is what your opponent brings type of gameplay. There's no modular, I'm going to bring whatever, you bring whatever, but we can make it kind of balanced system. It's basically just for narrative play. Now, does that mean we can't figure out a way to make it tournament friendly? Not at all, because, I'm gonna. I've got some buddies that like it, and we're going to try to see if we can figure out a way. What I've been leaning towards is rather than like a point buy system like you see for Warhammer and stuff like that, and even games like Bolt Action, you have a what's the word I'm looking for? Not mandatory, but mandatory would work. Compulsory. You have a compulsory infantry company, so everybody has to bring an infantry company, and those are defined like that. You can find in the rule books. So everybody would have to bring an infantry company, and then you get upgrade points, and then upgrade points would allow you to buy different things. You know, you want to bring a tank, an armored tank, like one tank might be X amount of upgrade points. You want to bring one big tank, it might be like 3 upgrade points. You want to bring 3 little tanks, it might be 3 upgrade points. This is kind of what we're talking about, though, is like, rather than every unit has this point, you're almost like buying detachments. And that's where we were kind of leaning when we had been talking about this. I say we. It's mostly just me telling a couple people this is what we should do. And they're just like, yeah, Chris, that sounds good. You fucking goblin, that sounds great. I'm just trying to think if I've got some brown down here. I have a bunch of paint in. I'm in the basement. I'm always in the basement whenever I'm streaming and recording. Not always. 9 times out of 10, I'm in the basement. And I'm just trying to decide if I've got some brown down here or if my kids have all walked away with my paint that was down here. Because I had a big box of paint and glue and snips, and I think I found it. Oh! I wonder how rattling grime would look as a leather, like a dark leather. That's not what my daughter used on the initial ones. And I could use Xandri dust. I guess that would work really well too. I forget what she used though. But it really just comes down to, do I want to wait to paint all their bits and bobs, like their belts and their backpacks, or do I just want to make it? I think we're gonna try one of these handsome fellas in rattling grime. Yes, I'm using all contrast on these for now. I have a full Crusader company that I've painted 90% of, and I was not expecting to be painting Koftarans. So now that I'm painting Koftarans, I'm like, okay, well, I wasn't planning on painting these. How can we do this in a quicker way? I don't think this looks bad. I probably needed a bit more paint on my brush. Rattling grime's kind of weird anyway. I do like it. I use it for a lot of different things. Obviously, it makes a very good dirt color. When I'm done with this stream, I'm going to be base coating a board that I am making. It's a foam board for a play table, and it needs base coated. So I'm probably going to run some rattling grime through my airbrush and just spray it onto that, because that works a lot better than trying to spray paint. Okay. And then we're gonna maybe just match the buttstock of this rifle. Okay, this brush is part of the problem. It's old. I'm not good at painting. I'm definitely not putting it in my mouth. I would never do that. And you should never do that either. Unless it's lead-based paint. I'm just joking. Don't put lead-based paint in your mouth. So, we're going to, honestly, what I'll probably do is just paint the whole thing in this brown. And then come back later. But lead-based paint will keep the hard points out. Oh my God, it'll keep the 5G from seeping into my vertebrae, man. like I said, I think we're just going to hit the whole rifle for now. And then I can come back later with some sort of metallic to hit the barrel and stuff. But like I said, this way, if I'm like, hey, I want to do this video with my son, we have stuff that is painted. Looks nice. 10 out of 10. Well, not 0 out of 10 anyway. I've already got my next round for the Warhammer 40K League scheduled. That'll be next Thursday. Next week, probably Monday or Tuesday, we'll be streaming my Adepticon. Are you saying D&D stuff for what I'm painting? This is Quar, actually. Here, let me give you another zoom in. I do have some D&D minis I could be painting. It's actually Dungeon Saga is what I could be painting, but they work very well for either. These are handsome little World War I aardvarks. Here at my house, we have we call them retardvarks because they're kind of goofy. But they're a lot of fun, and the game itself is a lot of fun. And then they have some awesome looking tanks. It's a war game. I'll have to show everybody one of the tanks. What did I do? Oh, I was painting a different guy. And then I picked that one up to show everybody, and I don't know why I did that. Welcome to my world and my brain. And again, I am not a great painter. I will openly admit that. But I will share my average painting with all of you. Beep, beep. Yeah, that's just my brain. I have a thing in my hand. I could show you the thing in my hand. It's the same as the thing I'm going to pick up, but it's just better if I pick up a new one, show you, forget what I'm doing, and then have to reset completely. And this is what my wife deals with on a daily basis. And she'll be like, I don't understand why this is so difficult for you. And I'm like, because I don't even remember what I'm doing. As soon as my attention is on to something else, whatever I was just doing is completely gone from my head. Let's hit that. Yeah. Yeah. All right. We got to get a little neck strap. Come here, you little neck strap. But yeah, so next week we'll be talking about Firefight. My Adepticon list for that, we're going to go over it. I'll get a couple practice games in with that this weekend. And, okay. So let's paint his skin and see how he looks. One of the things I love about Quar also, besides like just how silly they look, is you get to do stuff like this. Hey, I want this guy to have purple skin. And that's okay. You can do that. And, it's just a super fun little goofy kind of game. And the guy who wrote it, I've talked to him a few times, and I love what they've done in terms of the rules. The world is a lot of fun. So we're going to do some Gene Stealer purple here. We're probably not going to do much in the way of highlights today. We're just going to do some base coating. But yeah, the world's a lot of fun. There's actually a surprising amount of backstory to the whole world and the whole game. And it's spread out through different books. And there's actually one of the weirdest things I learned is that there's actually a video game. I don't know how. Kudos to the guy that wrote the original, not the rules, but the guy behind the setting and stuff. His name is Josh. Congratulations to Josh for getting some sort of video game licensing thing going. It's on PS4, and I think there's like a VR game too. and it might even be the same game, to be honest with you. I haven't played it. I don't have a PS4, and I don't have any kind of VR. So, it looks fun. I think it's just a turn-based strategy game. So, if you're into that, it'll be fun. I'm into that. What was that game? Battle for Westnoth. Big fan of that. That was a fun one when I was younger. Used to play that a lot. Shining Force, if you're old. I'm old. Another good turn-based strategy game. Pseudo RPG. But wargaming's, man, it's always been my jam. I actually, I watch a lot of AVGN, or Angry Video Game Nerd. I didn't grow up with him. I'm probably the same age as him, to be honest with you. But he did a series called Board James, and he would talk about board games. And I just discovered this, and he was talking about a game called Battle Masters. And man, that's a game I had when I was a kid. And it was an old GW game. They did a couple of games where they partnered with Milton Bradley. Hero Quest was one of them. And technically it was a Citadel game, not a GW game. But they partnered with Milton Bradley, did a few games. I don't know how many, because like I said, I know that was one of them. I gotta patch his little thumb there. That was one of them, and then, but it had like a lot of stuff in it. Like it was this big. I don't know how big it was. If I had to guess in retrospect, because I don't know, I was still at that point in my childhood. We were still in Cedar Lake, which is a little town in Indiana, like most towns in Indiana. But we were still in Cedar Lake when we had it, so I'd have to say, trying to remember how big that was, it was probably around a 6x4, but the whole mat was gridded, and then it came with like Empire, like Old World Empire or Warhammer Fantasy Empire. It came with all these Empire models, and it came with these, man, I think it was Chaos, but it could have been like Orcs and Goblins. I don't remember the other side very well. I know there was an ogre, but it was kind of weird. And then, it would just like, it was all hex based. You draw cards to see who got to move where. And then, you'd have kind of like a Hero Quest style combat system. And it was just kind of a lot of fun. Like, that was my intro. I forgot that I played that game as a kid. And so I used to think that my first foray into wargaming was when I was in high school. And then I remembered that we had that game as a kid, when I was a kid, and I was like, oh shit. That was really my first foray into wargaming, and I've really been doing it ever since. I've done some RPG stuff, like I do D&D and stuff like that. Dungeon Saga is a lot of fun. I like it because it doesn't have the time commitment that like a war game or even like a D&D have. It's more of a dungeon crawler, but I do like the role-playing aspect of role-playing games also, so there is that. Put this, I'm really happy with this paint color on these boys, but that means I have to go through and repaint all the ones my daughter did, at least their backpacks and their belts and stuff, which that's not my favorite. That is not the bee's knees. The cat's pajamas or any other thing. It's not the spider's balls. But yeah, she was big into this, but she's getting to an age where hanging out with dad isn't cool anymore. And she's wanting to do stuff with her friends more, and a lot of her friends don't really do any of this, so I mean, she doesn't really do any of this. So I get to go through and repaint and fix and all that. Which is a shame, because she was actually getting to a point with some of these games where she was getting pretty good. She had been playing Firefight with me, and we used to travel a lot for tournaments. She went to Michigan GT with me, and that was really the last time she's even played. So we're talking probably 6 months, 5 months at this point. Maybe not that long. September, so October, November, December, January, February, about 5 months. Going on 6. But she didn't do the best at that one. But the Michigan GT's got a goofy format for Firefight. And that's nothing against, like, I'm not complaining about it, but it's different from literally everything she had ever done. So she didn't really understand the format. I think her round 1 matchup kind of like checked her out mentally. Not because of like the player being mean or anything, but he's actually a super nice dude. But he's kind of slow. And she felt like she got slow played, and to an extent she did. I don't think it was intentional. But he's just kind of slow, and she ended up losing that game. But I think they only finished like 2 rounds. And I can promise you it wasn't because of her. And I'm not saying this because I'm her dad. I've played enough games with her. I know she knows her army at least well enough to not time out. You know, I've taken her to other events. I've taken her to other tournaments. So I'm confident that she was not why they timed out. But man, she was so mad. And I just think that was a big part. Oh, I smudged. You goose. A big part of, like why she did so poorly was that I think she just checked out mentally after that. She just didn't care. I think she was just like, you know what? This is dumb. I didn't have fun in my first game. And I think that's just kind of where she was at. Alright, let's grab. I'm going to get yelled at for putting paint on all this cutting mat. It's not mine. Wife going to be like, why would you do this? I don't know. I thought that's where the paint went. Alright. Well, that's weird. I feel like I hear talking. I should not hear talking right now. If it keeps up, I may have to step away for a minute. Because everybody should be at work, and this is my work, or at least half of it. I try to do this when nobody's home, so I don't have to worry about anybody walking in or making a bunch of noise or anything like that. How did I not give you a rucksack, bro? Gotta get that rucksack action. Oh, right in his back. That's okay. We're gonna cover it up anyway. Ha! Nerd. I'm gonna cover you up. You poo butt. All right. Okay. Well, it is what it is. Oh, I know what that noise is I keep hearing. We have a cat, and we didn't used to have a cat. This is a new development in my life. And that fat bastard is actually behind me on a shelf, sleeping. And what I'm hearing is him kind of like halfway snoring. So that's the noise I kept hearing that I thought was somebody talking. That was really messing me up. I thought I was going to have to go upstairs and see what was up. Find out if I had to either. Never mind. It doesn't matter. Oh my gosh. So much mess. I just splashed so hard. That's okay. God dang it. Oh man. Brother. This guy stinks. I do like how this rattling grime is, though. This is a great color for this type of stuff. Okay. Beep. Beep, beep, I'm a sheep. Beep, 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 beep. You got to meow, meow like a cow. Meow, meow like a cow. Alright, let's hit G's backpack here real quick. And then that dude right there. I gotta fix his arm too. But I don't have his extra arm in here, so that's okay. That'll happen later. Oh, you don't even have a backpack. Why would I do this? Wow. Wow. All right. Yeah, we're just sitting here painting some choir. If you don't know what they are, definitely give them a check out. It's QUAR, and quick Google search will get you there. And like I said, I think if you wanted to see the rules and probably most of the lore, there's rifler.com, which is, again, I'm not going to spell it because it's spelled kind of weird. But there's a YouTuber who does a lot of lore videos on him too. I believe he is Mishmash is his channel name. And he does more breakdowns than like I ever could. Like that is his jam. He likes to sit there and talk about lore, which I'm here for it, man. Like I will listen to it while I'm at work. But I am a game and aesthetics first player. If the game sucks, I am going to struggle to care about anything else. If the game is at least playable, I can at least get into it. If my cats don't react to the noise, I usually ignore the noise. Actually, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. So we have one cat that it was a rescue. Somebody dumped it, and my wife is a much kinder soul than I am, if we're being honest. And she brought it in. But we do have a dog, and I really should have thought about that. Like, Minnie isn't upstairs barking or anything, so it's probably nothing serious. I think I didn't even consider that because in my head, she's not scary at all, so I don't even consider the fact that she would bark because I'm just like, bro, you're a midget, because she's a corgi. And so, like I said, like to me, she's just kind of this derpy little fuzzball. And so I don't think that even entered into my mind. Okay, there we go. So I'll have to figure out what I want to do with their little backpacks, for sure. The little sleeping pads. In the Army, we had a special word for those. I guess special isn't... like they were just called puss pads. That is how we referred to the sleeping rolls in the Army. I assume other branches probably had... Uh-oh. Did I crash? No. Let me see. Oh, doesn't look like I crashed. Looks like I'm still live. So it looks like this thing's just being the poopy duty. Beep. My chat said no. Well, if I don't respond to you, it's not out of... I'm not ignoring you. I just have it pulled up on a secondary screen because of how I'm streaming right now. And that secondary screen decided it didn't want to sync the chat anymore. Okay, there it goes. I got it. But yeah, so, you know, like she's just kind of a goofball. Let's do one of these handsome fellas in red. Oh, that's a red. That's a spicy meatball. I probably should have done red last, now that I'm thinking about it. But this is where we're at now. Sometimes that's just how it be. What the fuck is on my paintbrush, man? What is that? Oh my gosh, I hate this. Now let's clean this brush off. I don't want this on my fingies. I need to get some rubbing alcohol and clean that off. That's terrifying. It's all goopy. Look at that shit. Oh my gosh. Like right here, you can't really see it too well. I don't know what this is, man. It's like somebody taped something to my paintbrush and then left it. It's disgusting. Brother, actually I can see what it is now, because the store went out of business and I bought them out of all their Citadel brushes. And it's just the old price tag residue. So I'm over here like, what the hell? Who did this to my brush? It turns out I got it that way. God dang, man. I'm telling you, this is how I live my life. Alright, we're going to paint one of these handsome fellas red. A little water up in here. A little red. I gotta paint some more on their uniforms yet, but I'm not super worried about it right now. Like I said, I just want to get them to where they don't look unpainted from about 3 feet. We're gonna be doing some narrative style campaign battle reports with these boys, and when I start recording those, I don't want a bunch of unpainted models. I always feel bad when I do that. Like, I know I'm not a great painter, but god damn it, I paint. And I always feel bad when I've got videos and there's gray plastic and I'm like, I should have painted, yes, son of a bitch. It's been so long since I've used this color. Oh, I forgot how, like, red it is. Normally, when I use GW reds, it's corn red, which is much darker. It's not this, like, bright, vibrant, like Mephiston is. Beep. All right, there we go. Oh, so smooth. Yes. Look at that. Look at that. Bro's ready. He'd get shot and keep going, and you wouldn't even know it because he's red. He's got his red pants on. Fetch me my brown pants. Beep. So if you're out there watching and hanging out, what games do you guys play? You play Quar? You play you play 40K? Conflict, Bolt Action, any of that? Lord of the Rings, AOS, Old World. I tell you, man, being a wargamer right now is it's actually kind of hard because there's so many options now compared to like even 10 years ago. I mean, there've always been a lot of options, but because of the internet being what it is, you can see a lot more like than you would have before. Like the new StarCraft game coming out and stuff like that. I know I've got some buddies that were like, "Are you going to get into that?" And I was like, "No, I'm not." Conquest, LOAK, and Blood Bowl. That's just Conquest's like suffix, isn't it? I've heard good things about Conquest. I've never played it. I have some stuff for it. It really just sits. I wouldn't be opposed to trying it out, but I also wouldn't be opposed to just like unloading what I have. But I'd have to go through and see what I have. It's like half of one of the older starter boxes. I've seen like tournaments and stuff. It seems to be pretty popular, but I have played some Conflict and some Bolt Action because we don't have much of a Conflict community up by me. Yeah, Last Argument of Kings, thank you. I say up by me, I don't know where anybody's from. I'm in Valpo, Indiana. But we don't have like a huge Bolt Action community, but we do have one. And we don't have much of a Conflict community, but I've been able to squeeze a couple games in here and there. And I can tell you, it's fun. I love Conflict. I like it a lot. The biggest issue is the same issue I have with most games, and that's trying to get games in because where I live, everybody has a massive 40K boner. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I'm not talking down on 40K as a game or the community, but it's just one of those things where it can make it very hard to find a community for some of these other games because of how hard people rail for 40K. And I play 40K. Like, I have 2 40K armies. I used to have a lot. I used to play it a lot. I've definitely done some Blood Bowl in my life. I mean, I had a whole series of like pseudo animations dedicated to recapping Blood Bowl games. And really what ended up putting the stop to that, what caused me to stop Blood Bowl was we were supposed to go down to Tampa, my son and I, for a tournament, the Tampa Open, the GW event. And this isn't anybody's fault. I'm not blaming anybody, but the event got canceled because of a hurricane. And ever since that, he has not had any desire to go play anything. Like, he basically spent the whole year not wanting to play anything. And it wasn't until, gosh, almost like January that he was willing to even try a game. Like his disappointment about not going to Tampa was so strong. It just like killed him from any kind of tabletop miniature gaming for a year, basically. Oh, I splashed it. Oh well, we'll fix that later. And that's always one of the things that you know, when I'm picking games to play, one of the first things is like, will my kids enjoy this? Because if they're not going to enjoy it, and I'm never going to get to play it with them, and I'm only going to get to play it when I leave the house, I'm probably not going to invest a lot of time into it. Just because, you know, wargaming has been such an integral part of my life since I was a young boy, as I mentioned earlier. Like, I want to be able to share that with them if they want to, you know, and he's starting to want to again. He's been playing Firefight, and we've been playing this game called Hounds of War, which is kind of like a Build-A-Bear style game. Like you get whatever models you want, and it's got a point-buy system where you buy whatever abilities you want. Like if you want to move 6 inches, it costs X points. If you want to move 8 inches, it costs Y points, type of thing. So it's that kind of setup. And we've been playing a lot of that because we've got an old Lizard Man army from, I guess it's technically Old World now. And then we've got I've got my Wood Elves, so we've been doing stuff with that. But the fact that it works for anything, because it's literally you're building it, so it works however you want it to work, has been good for him because he's been able to like put his lizard men on the table and have fun with them, and he likes the activation system because it uses card activations, not the same way that Conquest does. Because if I remember right, Conquest, you get unit cards. So like, and I'm just using Warhammer units because that's what I know. I don't know Conquest units. But for example, if I had 3 units of Dark Eldar Witches, 3 Witches cards would go into my deck along with all my other cards. And then when I drew a Witch card, I could activate any unactivated unit of Witches. That is how I understand Conquest to work. The way Hounds of War and actually Quar also works this way, the way they work is the cards are actually like an initiative system. So if you have 10 units and I have 10 units, we get cards numbered 1 to 20. We shuffle them up and then we deal them out to each other. And then whoever has number 1 goes first, and whoever has number 2 goes second. But you have to set them out before you activate anything. So that's where it gets kind of wild, is that you've got this game where you have to decide where your opponent's going to activate. Oh my gosh, I just saw a whole bunch more of my paint. I might be able to do some of the other things on these fellas that I had wanted to. You know, you might have a unit where it's like, I know my opponent's going to activate here first because they have number 1, and this makes the most sense. But where do I need to activate once I get my first activation? Like, is it worth it for me to activate this other unit here or whatever? So it's almost like a mini game where you have to figure out what your opponent's going to do. And you know, it separates the men from the boys, you know, when you're playing a game like that, because there's not a lot of reactive play. I mean, there's like Overwatch and reactions, but it's not like Firefight where it's alternating activations completely. So it's like I can watch what you do and then react immediately. You know, your initiative is predetermined, and so it becomes a whole different game when your initiative's predetermined like that, because then it really does come down to a lot of player skill as opposed to luck. Now, still a dice game. There's still luck involved. But it definitely makes a big difference, you know. And, like, my kids have played Quar. Both of them enjoy Quar a lot. Part of it's because the rules are I want to say they're simple because they're not, but they are. Like the dice mechanics are really, really easy to figure out and pick up. Because everything is just a dude, right? It's like a historical game. In historical games, everybody's just dudes. There's no elves, there's no this, there's no that. So you don't have like these weird varying movements and things like that. You have everybody's a dude, so everybody's movement's the same. Quar's the same way. And because that's how it works, everything in Quar just hits on sixes. Like that's how they do it is 100% you hit on sixes. But there's no armor saves. Sixes just kill a model. And the way to get around that is you get what are called condition shifts. And the condition shifts are what allow you to mitigate that damage. So if you're in cover, you go to shift 1. If you are running, you go to shift 1. But all your shifts will stack. And each shift negates sixes. So if you're at shift 1, hit rolls of 1 negate sixes. If you're at shift 2, hit rolls of 1 and 2 negate sixes. And this is all on the attacker's roll. So only one person is rolling dice. So if I'm throwing 20 dice at you to make attacks, and you're at shift 2, I'll roll all 20 of those dice. I pull sixes to one side, and then I pull ones and twos to another side. And then there's a priority list. Like you have to use twos to cancel out sixes first, then use ones. And the reason is because ones create suppression and casualties create suppression. And that's where the game actually revolves around. It's about command and control. It's not as much about model removal as it is about command and control and using suppression to control your opponent's movement and things like that. And I'm telling you, it is one of the best rule systems I have ever played with. And I 100% love it, specifically the battle game, because my experience with the skirmish game is much more limited, so I can't sit here and say that I would feel the same way about the skirmish game. But I can tell you that that battle game is the bee's knees, and it uses like a lot of silliness. You have a lot of tables, which maybe that's a little off-putting for some people. But like when you fire a mortar, you put the mortar, and I'm going off of memory, so I might not get everything 100% correct. But you put the mortar template down, you see how many duders you can get underneath it, and then you roll 2 dice for your blast table. And it's not a add them together, it's a look at each individual result and then compare it to the table. So like, it's kind of weird the first few times you play, but the way it works is if you don't roll any ones and you don't roll any sixes, you get the most average result you could get. Like, for a blast table, it just means that you just do regular damage. Now, if one of the dice is a 1, and then one of the dice isn't a 1, you're still doing something, but that 1 is going to make it not as good. And then if you roll 2 ones, that's like a misfire. Maybe you take the damage. It's like a critical fail would be a good way of putting it. And then if you roll a 6 and not a 6, it's like you get maybe like an extra damage type of thing. But if you roll 2 6s, you might be able to double your damage type of thing. But then if you roll like a 6 and a 1, that's when it gets like real weird, because maybe something really good happens and something really bad happens. Like I said, the whole game is just nutty. And I was real resistant to playing it when I was first introduced to it. My buddy was just like, this was when I was really, so I'm not a big fan of 10th. I've not hid that. Like I've been pretty vocal. And I took about a year and a half off of 40K. And my buddy was just like, you should play Quar, you should play Quar. I think you'll like it. It really like hits everything about gaming that you like. You should do it, you should do it. Now, I saw the models the first time, and I was like, dude, these things are dumb as fuck. I'm not playing Quar. Look at how dumb these little doofy bastards are. And then finally, I don't even remember why. I think I was just so tired of just like not playing and like just wanted to find new games, and I'm trying to do more reviews on my channel and stuff like that. So finally I was like, all right, bro, teach me this stupid game. And so, and really what ended up happening was I think I started reading the rules. And I immediately, as I was reading through the rules, was like, oh my gosh, like this is such a good game. How is like nobody playing this? And then, give me a second. So then I was like, all right, walk me through a game. So we did our walkthrough, and I immediately started buying stuff. I was just like, this game, and the plastics are done by War Games Atlantic, so they're pretty decent quality, and they're relatively expensive, and I believe they're made here in America, if I'm not mistaken. So that's also cool. The only complaint I've ever had about WGA War Games Atlantic is their plastics react a little weird sometimes to Citadel plastic glue. Now, I don't know if it reacts that way to all plastic glue this way because I just have a shitload of Citadel plastic glue because I still do some work for GW. So they still send me glue and stuff because I still do stuff for them. But it's just one of those things where it's like, man, oh, balls. It gets this weird like patchiness on the plastic. I'll see if I can find one. This is one my daughter built. I could tell because of how his arm isn't even touching the fucking machine gun. But yeah, I'll see if I can find some, show everybody what I mean. And it doesn't do it all the time, but this is definitely one of those things where it's like, man, less is definitely more when you're working with War Games Atlantic models and you're using Citadel plastic glue. And maybe it's all plastic glue. I don't know. Like I said, I have an abundance of Citadel plastic glue, so I use it. Let's see. And then when I get to a good stopping point, I'll grab one of the tanks too. Show everybody those. Because, again, I just love them. I love them so much. I'm going to make everybody around me play this game at least once. I will buy everything and just make people play with me. I don't care. Like, here, I have purchased the models, I have built them, I have painted them. Now you must play Quar, you little bastards. And they'll be like, no, not the retard varks. Alright. Man, we're actually making some decent progress. None of them are complete, but I feel good about where everybody is. Let me see. Where are we at? Let's take a look at these guys, see if I can see what I was talking about here with the patchy plastic. I've got some touch-ups to do for sure. I've never, ever once tried to lie to myself and say I am a very good painter. I don't know if you can see it, but I've got one here. I'm going to put them right up into that camera. Get up in there. Oh, yeah. So there's like a grittiness. Let's see if I can maybe use a brush. In here, there's like a grittiness, like a texture. That's not the paint. That's actually what the fumes from the plastic glue do to the War Games Atlantic plastic. And again, maybe it's all plastic glue. Maybe it's just GW plastic glue. I don't know. I just know that is the experience I've had with it. And then, most of my tanks are upstairs, but I know I have some down here. They're just not primed. Oh, this one's kind of painted. I didn't do a great job on it, but this was me playing around with my airbrush more than actually painting. So this is one of the bigger ones, and this thing is massive. Let's use a Citadel pot to kind of like give you the scale. And I know it's not, like Warhammer big, but it was much larger than I expected it to be. So this is super cool. I love this thing. And then they've got other ones. So again, if you're interested, check it out. I'm not going to sit here and make you play it, but I will definitely advocate for this game because I love it. It's so much fun. The aesthetics are a lot of fun. The mechanics are a lot of fun. There's a lot of background and lore. Eli and I are going to start recording our first battle rep with it this weekend. Let's see, what do I have on deck? Next week, I'm going to be streaming a 40K, Firefight Adepticon list preview. And then, what else do we have next week? Another hobby hangout. Next week, we'll probably paint some Wild Riders, if I don't already have them painted, or we might be working on some terrain, because actually I'll pull that out while I'm thinking of it too. There was a like hobby hangout where I was just like, hey, let's just like randomly build shit. So it'll need another coat of spray on there, but this was like just a piece of terrain I slapped together in like an hour, and then here's another one. It probably needs more on the base. And we're going to do some flocking and stuff like that. They're not done. And then this was me practicing with my airbrush to see if I can make this look like it's glowing. So, right there. And again, it's not perfect, but this is me just this is how I learn, man. So, again, I appreciate everybody hanging out with me for a nice little power hour. If you like the video, hit the like button or I'm going to fucking cry myself to sleep tonight. And if you are really cool, you could even subscribe if you didn't. And if you don't subscribe, you're just not cool. So, it's the fucking way it is. Again, thanks a lot. Hope everybody has a good day. We'll see you next week. Maybe. Stop streaming? Yes.